true. So, we have an amazing service today. Our guest musician this morning is Debbie Wheeler-Ure. With our beloved house musician, Bill Wolf. One of our very long-time practitioners that we all love and adore, Tom Hodges. And our message this morning continues us in the series of being born free this month. And our talk and our walk this morning will be on spiritual freedom in an emotional world. Spiritual freedom in an emotional world. But first, I'd like to invite up some beautiful people to share some announcements with you all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, I kind of think of myself as a very normal person. So therefore, anything that I feel, everybody feels, right? No, that's not always right, but there's a tendency. Anyway, umpteen years ago, I struggled greatly with the Old Testament. How could a God of love ask Abraham to sacrifice his only son? How could a God of love tell Joshua to go out into the conquered cities and kill all of those people? How could a God of love harden Pharaoh's heart, etc., 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 etc.? So it took me about 5 years to go through a study of the Old Testament, and I did not get my answers directly from the church, but the church guided me to where I could find my answers. As a consequence, my personal answers, the answers that gave me peace, are a little bit different. Anyway, I believe that, well, actually what I believe is that it is impossible, and I'm sure that's not right, but it feels impossible for a 21st century American to see a God of love in the Old Testament. I just could not see it. So during my 5 years of study, every single question that I battled God on turned it around, and I now think of the Old Testament as a book of love. And that's a miracle. So I'm going to be starting a 4-week class this coming Friday from 10 in the morning until 12. And if you have had a similar study or a similar struggle, your answers may be the same as mine. They may be different. It doesn't matter. We can share our answers together. But it will be an adventure of finding love in what my first impression was, it's not possible. So it's an adventure that's wonderful. So you're welcome to come. This coming Friday is the first class, and then the 3 following Fridays, 10 to 12. Thanks so much. Hope to see you there.
We have Susan Collins.
Good morning. Well, I'd like to invite you this Friday. It's yelling at me.
It's a dog. It's a dog barking.
Oh. Hello.
Just talking to you when you said good morning, their response.
I was doing that. Okay. Anyway, I'd like to invite you this Friday night for game night. It's going to be dice and nothing but the dice. Now, when I said this to a friend of mine, a dear friend, she looked at me and said, "How is that spiritual?" And I came up in my mind with some great answers. I mean, it really did. And then life said, "Oh, my dear, we have a better answer for you." So I live in a community that has a clubhouse, and I teach games. And when I moved there, there was this guy who's lived there forever, and I'd say hi to him, and he would kind of growl at me. So I was telling somebody, you know, that guy is kind of grouchy, and they went, and I'll just call him this name. "Oh, that's Joe. He has always been grouchy. We call him Grouchy Joe. No matter what's happening, he's grouchy." So I started this game, little meeting, twice a month, and he would come in and he'd look at us and he would growl, and we'd all invite him to play. and off he'd go. Well, the last time we played, he actually sat down and he played with us, and we were playing Rummikub. Halfway through, he did this fabulous move, and we all were so excited for him. Such a good move. And all of a sudden, he started giggling. He didn't even smile. It was a giggle, a full, and all of us started giggling at such pleasure that this was happening. And I looked around and I saw him as that 7, 8-year-old little boy, that child, just having the best time. And as I looked around the table, we were all that 7, 8-year-old little person having pure joy. And what hit me was, this is the answer. We are the joyful children of the divine. Isn't this perfect? Just to have fun. And so I invite you to come and just have fun. There's no big prizes or anything. We're just going to giggle and have fun with one another. Who doesn't like to chuck dice? I mean, come on, this is a fun thing. And we'll be playing everything from Vegas to zombie dice. I mean, come on, zombie dice. So in the future months, we're going to have different games, and I'm going to make a list of games that I'm going to teach. But I invite anybody who has the passion. Bill has already told me he has the passion for a couple of games, that if you would like to teach us that game, please let me know. We'll put you on the schedule. I don't want to be the only one teaching games. And there may be a game that is wonderful that I don't know about, and I'd love to learn. So I need some help. Anne-Marie, would you come up and help? Nicole, would you help? Oh. So what we're going to do is I want to see hands of anyone who thinks they're going to come Friday night. If you are, and you catch one of these, bring it back. There's going to be something special that happens. Here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we gotta hit them now.
And P.S., the next announcement is, remember, drumming Wednesday night. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, I'm going to put both of them together. Love and games and fun. We're going to have a shower, a wedding shower for Michael and Nicole. It's going to be next Saturday from 3 to 5. Most of you have seen the sign-up sheets outside. It's just a potluck. We're going to come here. We are going to have some games. We're going to have some music, and we'll move a few chairs in case you want to dance. And again, it's just a potluck, so sign up for the potluck. We could use extra help in the kitchen because our beloved Florian's not going to be here. I know. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do. The whole kitchen may implode. I'm not sure. But anyway, if you have any questions, you can ask us. We'll be out back. And happy birthday, Bill.
Yes. And Debbie. And Dwayne. And Debbie. By the way, all of these fun people making announcements are all our beloved spiritual practitioners here.
Yes, the whole service today is announcements, so hope you all enjoyed it. Yes, and I'm here with the last announcement this morning, and that is to announce the workshop for mindfulness. Mindfulness Matters. And to let you know that it has moved, the date has moved from July 22nd, that Sunday, to July 29th. So those of you who've signed up earlier, it's going to be on the 29th. And what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is a type of Vipassana meditation, but it is gotten so popular that Time Magazine and Newsweek Magazine have devoted entire issues to the topic of mindfulness for health, for healing, for reduction of stress, for reduction of depression, anxiety, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it also is an incredible path that you can take into your daily life and practice to become closer to the highest self you are. And so I want you to join me in this 1 to 3 p.m. workshop on July the 29th. We'll learn about it. We'll learn what it can do for us. We'll learn tools to take home with us to practice it in our everyday life in being mindful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you. All of you are what make this community a spiritual family and a spiritual home that we get to have fun and play together and be together. And so I want to just invite us into a collective spiritual practice of just relaxing into our seats for a moment. This may be the one and only moment in your entire week, in our entire week, where we get to relax and just breathe. And if you'd like to close your eyes, you can. I just want to invite us to recognize that we are here now, that we are okay right here and now. Let us recognize our seats as a symbol of the support and care of the universe to us, for us, holding us up. And I invite us to listen to the words of our practitioner, Tom, and the music of Bill Wolf as we remain in this contemplative state.
Make me an instrument, Lord of thy peace, as I let go, as I release. Make me an instrument, humble and free, as I awaken in this living Christ in me. Ooh, make me an instrument, Lord of thy peace, as I let go, love I receive. Make me an instrument, humble and free, as I awaken in this living Christ in
I invite you to take a short journey with me. So if you'd like, close your eyes. Just relax. And imagine yourself through your mind's eye, standing on a beach, a beautiful beach, early in the morning. The sun is just beginning to peek over the horizon. It casts a golden glow across the ocean. The waves lap easily up onto the shore. You are standing in front of the sea of receptivity. And in these waters are all the wisdom, the knowledge, all of the thoughts that have ever been thought since the beginning of time. And it's all here for you to receive at the level you want to receive. And you can step forward onto the damp sand where the waves have receded and receive at that level. Or you can walk forward until the water swirls around your feet and your ankles. Or better yet, you can wander on out into the surf up to your waist. Or with wild abandon, you can fling yourself into the surf and be totally immersed in this sea of receptivity. The choices are yours. And so as we enter a few moments of silence, I invite you to consider what level you choose to receive. So bringing our consciousness back to this present moment, let us do so gratefully with great thanks to our visiting musician, Debbie Wheeler-Ewer, for the beautiful music that she brings to us, for our house pianist, Mr. Bill Wolf, and a special thanks to everybody who had a hand in any activity here at the church, in bringing these services together, in presenting our classes, the group over in our youth church. We are blessed, so blessed. We look forward to Nicole's message this morning. Grateful for that, grateful for the presence of Reverend Michael. And so if you would please join me in affirming, and so it is.
Make me an instrument, Lord of thy peace, as I give love, love I receive. Make me an instrument, humble and free, as I awaken in this living Christ in me.
It's so good to be with you this morning, and as I said in first service, congratulations to Nicole and Reverend Michael for giving this center its groundedness again. It's palpable. So, just having said that, this is called Spirit Wings. Some birds live in cages, they sing a quiet song, and like them I could sing for just a few. The Spirit's love released me to sing a different song and rise above the captive life I knew. Spirit wings lift me over all the earthbound things, and like a bird my heart is flying free, soaring on a song that Spirit brings. Oh, blessed am I now can see visions of eternity that lift me up and carry me on the Spirit wings. And now when life confines me, I just look within, and soon my heart is soaring high above. Troubles look much smaller, and from that point of view, lifted up on Spirit wings of love. Oh, Spirit wings, lift me over all the earthbound things, and like a bird, my heart is flying free, soaring on a song that Spirit brings. Oh, blessed am I now can see visions of eternity that lift me up and carry me on spirit wings. Spirit wings, lift me over all the earthbound things, and like a bird, my heart is flying free, soaring on a song that spirit brings. Oh, blessed am I now can see visions of eternity that lift me up and carry me on the spirit wings.
So beautiful. Thank you, Debbie and Bill. Which was both of their birthdays and Dwayne's birthday. We have so many congregates. So many. So many. That's funny. Oh. So you know what? I thought that I just want to be real with you this morning. Is that okay? Yes. Can we just be real? Just lay it all out? Huh? Yes. Yeah, exactly. Oh, so this week has been really filled with a lot of emotion. There have been a lot of different experiences and events that have been pulling at me and filling up my atmosphere. And talk about mindfulness, Anne-Marie, dear Lord. I can't even get 3 breaths in without losing my focus. And I think that just happens, right? In life, sometimes it feels like it all happens at once. And we're just kind of overwhelmed with so many different emotions and experiences. And so I was thinking about that. I was thinking, do you ever feel like you're an emotional hostage in your own life? Like you clinging to your shame or your regret or your irritation or your anger or your resentment or whatever, and you become a hostage to it. Like, whatever happened to the free, happy, spirited person that I was, right? And so I was thinking about this, and I was reminded of the absolute importance of emotion and how true freedom comes when we get to recognize our emotion as a gift, as an indicator, as just a knocking on our internal door saying, hey, something's happened. Something's going on here that you need to look at. And so because of that, I wanted to invite us all to journey through and look at our spiritual freedom in an emotional world. All month we've been talking about different aspects of the reality that we were born free. We were born free in our lives, we were born free in society, and we were born free within ourselves. And we have the ability to navigate through very emotional situations and feel spiritually healthy on the other side. And so I thought we'd look at 3 different aspects of this, 3 different things that can help us navigate, and kind of in the sense of just like getting the hard stuff done first, kind of ripping off the Band-Aid, so to speak. I thought we'd talk about one of the hardest things, one of the most emotional things that keeps us trapped in our internal prison, and that is lack of self-forgiveness. Lack of self-forgiveness. We have all done things. We've all experienced situations where we could have acted differently and we didn't, and a lot of us hold on to the shame and remorse and regret of that. And so I wanted to share with you this book that I had been reading lately. It's called Accidental Saints, and it's by Pastor Nadia Weber. That's her name. And the subtitle is Finding God in All the Wrong Places. Yeah, it's a really great book. And so there's this experience that happened to Pastor Nadia where she went on vacation in Mexico. And she's with her family, and she's kind of an early bird, so she wakes up before anybody, and she checks her Facebook. And she gets this message on Facebook saying, hey, did you hear about what happened to Bishop Bruce? And she's like, no. And she had just come from spending a whole week pastoring and caring for Bishop Bruce because he had just lost his wife. And so he was like terribly grieving. And she's getting nervous. All of her emotions are starting to overwhelm her because she's wondering what happened. What happened? And what turned out happened is that Bishop Bruce, in his grief, in his allowing the emotion to take over, in reacting instead of responding, drank and drove and killed a woman, a mother of 3, with a husband. And so Bishop Bruce was sitting in jail. And instinctively, Pastor Nadia, she starts to feel this intense emotion and care and compassion for the family, for these poor children that are never going to be able to see their mother again, for this poor husband who now has to tell his children that their mother's no longer going to be there. And at the same time, she could not help but feel compassion and care for her friend, Bishop Bruce, who had done this horrible thing, who is now sitting in jail, scared and alone and remorseful and lost in all of his emotion. And it got me thinking about us. It got me thinking about how many times do we react instead of respond? How many times do we find ourselves, shaking our heads at the poor choice that we made in a reaction to some emotion that came up within us when we saw something or heard something or did something? I can't speak for you, but I can speak for myself. I know I've done stupid things. Even the most well-intentioned people, even the most morally upright people do things sometimes that cause pain and hurt for others. And we start to feel ashamed, and we start to feel regret, and we feel remorse, and we feel, why the heck, how did that happen, right? And so what I want to remind us, how I want to invite us to navigate through this emotion, through this experience, is to remember that no matter what silly or stupid or crazy thing that we've reacted to, no matter what we've ever done, never, not for one split second, never could we ever be separate from God. Ever. And because we cannot be separate from the divine, the infinite, the source of life, the intelligence that created all of us and that we are sustained in, we are one with one another. We are so intricately interacted and interconnected that when we do something that hurts someone or ourselves, there's a ripple effect, because it doesn't just hurt us, it hurts everyone. When we do something, whether conscious or unconscious of it, it goes out and it spreads out and pain can be felt far and wide because we are so connected. And in that same sense, on the other side of that coin, the moment we begin to forgive ourselves, the very moment we begin to recognize that the past could not be different. I love that. That was my favorite definition of forgiveness. I heard it on Oprah a long time ago. She says, my definition of forgiveness is realizing that the past cannot be any different than it was. It's the past. It cannot change, right? And then Maya Angelou says, when we know better, we do better. When we know better, we do better. Allow regret, allow remorse, allow shame, allow, damn, I really screwed up, to be the now I know better. And so we can forgive ourselves. We can free ourselves from that bondage, from that mental slavery of shame, of regret, when we say, okay, now I know better. I forgive myself, and that begins to ripple out and affect all those around us. When we begin to forgive ourselves, we become a conscious example for everyone else. When we begin to forgive ourselves, it is in fact an apology. It is in fact a showing of the fact that we know that we are going to do better. And in this sense, we can begin to spiritually free our spirit, our soul, our mind from that bondage and those chains that we bind ourselves to internally. And the second aspect of navigating this spiritual freedom in an emotional world that I want to share with you, it's about the little things. My good friend Hyder here, he introduced me to a book called The Daily Stoic. And in it, it reminded me that it's really about the little things in life. I don't think we could hear this too many times. That finding joy in life, in feeling the sea breeze on our face, on making our beloved, our partner, our child smile, on taking our dog for a walk, on being in a beloved community, finding those little things in life that spark the joy. Joy is an indicator of the divine recognition within us. Joy is an indication that, oh yes, I am alive. And I want to share with you a couple examples of finding the little things in life. Warren Buffett, many of you probably already know this, he is worth $84 billion. And yet, he still lives in the same house that he bought in 1958 for $31,000. John Urschel, who was a lineman for the Baltimore Ravens, he only spent 3 years in the NFL and made over $2 million, and he lives off of $25,000 a year. And why is this? You might be thinking, oh, they're cheap. Oh, they're frugal. No. It's because Warren Buffett's favorite thing in the world to do is play bridge and play the ukulele that he learned when he was a teenager to impress a girl. Those are his favorite things to do. And John Urschel, he's at school in MIT just trying to become a doctor of mathematics. He loves to read math. That's quite cheap. I mean, reasonably. These things bring them so much joy that the market could drop tomorrow and they would still be fulfilled. That they could break a leg or get an injury and never be able to play football again, and they would still be filled with joy. What are the little things in our life? Where do we find God in the mundane, in the everyday? Where do you find God in everyday life? Where are your little joys? Tell me. Sunrise. View of the ocean? Pets. What's in your front yard? Oh. Oh, yes. Doing the dishes? Your kids, yes. Oh, doing the dishes? Come over to their house. You'll have lots of joy, right? Sunset, yeah. Painting.
Being with friends.
Yes. Seeing you smile. Oh my goodness. I mean, I could start crying. Your kitty? Yes. Oh, spending the day with your mom. I know. Oh, yes. Which his mom is here today, everyone. It's these little things that we find joy in, these little everyday things that no one can take away from us, that create the liberation of our life. To be free from the bondage of materialism and consumerism and society's ideas of how much we should have and what we should be doing. This allows us the freedom to be no matter what, and the freedom to live where no one can take it away from us. You know? And the last navigation that we'll go on of our spiritual freedom in an emotional world, it's kind of a personal journey of mine that I experienced when I was a teenager, and I'll share it with you. It's kind of silly, but I learned a lot. So, believe it or not, when I was young, I was a punk rocker. Okay. Back when I was a teenager, 16, 17, the punk rock genre or movement was all about like anarchy and peace and freedom for all and human rights, and it was all about freedom, no matter what the cost or price, freedom. And so I think that was just my spirit's way of not knowing how to cultivate my energy. So I put it in that, it started there. Okay. And so what I realized over the years, though, is that as free as I was externally, I could wear what I want, I could be what I want, I could say what I wanted to, internally, I still felt enslaved by people's opinions and ideas, and as much as I felt free externally, internally, I was trapped. And it wasn't until, I grew up a little bit, that I started to realize that true freedom isn't in the purple or pink hair dye that I used, or in the tattoos or piercings that I had, or in any of this rebellious freedom that I was experiencing. But that what I had been missing was true freedom. True freedom, ladies and gentlemen, is when you can stand spiritually, metaphorically, symbolically naked in front of the world, in front of your family, in front of your friends, in front of your coworkers, in front of your congregation, and say, this is me. This is who I am. I'm always growing. I'm always changing. I always want to do better. But this is me. Vulnerable, real, me. All right. When we can do that, when we can stand up and look at our beloveds, at the people in our lives, and truly look them in the eyes and feel love, unconditional love for them, no matter what their emotional world is like, that's spiritual freedom. When we can stand and look at ourselves in the mirror with all of ourselves, no matter if we gain 20 pounds or not, and love ourselves and say, this is me, I'm always growing. I'm always learning. I'll always contradict myself at some point. But this is me right now. That kind of vulnerability, that kind of raw realness, that's spiritual freedom. And that is what I want to invite all of us to attempt to embrace in our lives. Just being us. I know so many of you, and I know that looking at you when you're real and you're vulnerable, my God, I couldn't love you more. It's just brilliant, and I see God, and I see the good in life. So I want to invite you to just continue on with that. Because, like our intention says for this month, we were born free. Standing firmly rooted in spirit, we embrace a life of liberty. Thank you all. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
One of our favorite things to do, my husband and I, is take our little dogs for a walk over at Tewinkle Park, which is over by the fairgrounds in Costa Mesa. And it's especially fun now for them because the fair is on and they smell turkey legs. Oh boy, they love that. But when we're there, we often see, and it's more often than not, people with their phones walking through the park, walking their dogs like this. They just missed the squirrel who poked his head out behind the tree. They just missed the butterfly that flew by their head. They missed everything to be stuck in here. Sometimes I want to holler at them like, put your phone down. They wouldn't appreciate it, so I don't do it. But this is a song that brings that nature into play, so I'd like to share it with you now. Bird in the sky, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, a new day, a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on a tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, a new day, a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Dragonflies out in the sun, you know what I mean. Butterflies all having fun, you know what I mean. Sleep in peace till day is done, that's what I mean. And this old world is a new world and a bold, bold world for me. Star, when you shine, you know how I feel. Scent of the pine, you know how I feel. Freedom is mine. how I feel. It's a new dawn, a new day, a new life. It's a new dawn, a new day, a new life. A new dawn, a new day, a new life for me. Feeling good.
Oh, this is a beautiful service, isn't it? You're so amazing. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Well, now it's another offering or opportunity for us to practice spiritual practices together with an conscious giving. Conscious giving is the act of consciously and in awareness sharing a gift. Now, it can be a monetary gift or a thought or a service, but consciously sharing with where you are spiritually nourished. It activates that law of reciprocity, saying, when you do, it is done. When you do, it is done unto you. And so I want to invite us to just take our gifts or our thoughts or our deeds into our heart space, recognizing the heart as the center of life and of circulation. And I want to invite you to say with me, divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous. Thank you, God.
I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed. We are so blessed, we are so blessed, we are so grateful for all that we have. We are so blessed, we are so blessed, we are so grateful, we are so blessed, we are so grateful, we are so blessed.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm one of your practitioners here at the Still Beach Center of Spiritual Living. It's very cool at this moment to do something very special. So first, if you would like prayer after service, we'll be over by the walls for you to have a 5-minute prayer, a little miracle, real quick and wonderful for you. Or if you want to fill out one of our prayer request forms, drop it off in the box. That's available for you as well. And all of our practitioners here will pray for you for whatever it is that you're seeking and need. In addition, for today, there's something special. So my friend Dwayne, wave. Yay! And what I'd like to do is to bring up Reverend Barbara, Dwayne's mom, and she's going to do our closing prayer for us today. So let's give her some warm welcome.
I guess it's not quite a good afternoon, so good morning to you. I always say that it's good morning somewhere anyway, so you can always say that. I just want you to know that I feel so honored and so blessed to be here with you today, and thank Reverend Nicole for trusting Dwayne to let his mom come and be a part of this service this morning. And Reverend Michael, and congratulations to the two of you as you enter a new season in your life. So we're going to stand and touch someone as we're standing. And as we pause in this moment, recognizing a power and presence that is everywhere, accept and know that right here in Seal Beach, at this spiritual center for living, God showed up and showed out. And so we're so grateful for God meeting us here and preparing this place for such a time as this. And so I'm speaking words this morning for love and for peace and for happiness and for a healing that takes place as we recognize our freedom to be. And so as we move into that consciousness that was so awesomely set by Reverend Nicole this morning, we accept and know that the love, the peace, the forgiveness that is needed, recognizing the small things in life and appreciating them, that as we know who we are, and that there is such a oneness, that we're all connected, and that when something happens to one, it happens to all. For there is no separation, there is just that oneness. And so we're so blessed today that we can be in that space where the love and the peace rolls out from us and flows through this place, and that it flows through the city, that it flows through the state, that it flows out into the United States and into the entire world, to the universe. And that peace and love reveals the healing that is needed for our country, for each of us. And so we're just so totally blessed that this is already happening. We accept and know that it is so. Blessing each person who has been here today as a part of this service. Blessing those who have prepared it for it in any way. Those who may be just visiting today. And so we know as we leave this place that we take something very special with us, and that we're able to share that specialness with those that we come in contact with, that they will know that something special happened for us here today. And so we just embrace love. We embrace peace. We even embrace any emotions that are there, and we take the steps that Reverend Nicole has put forth for us, and life is good. Divine right action is taking place right now. And so we're just saying thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit, as we know that we're divinely guided, directed, and protected. Releasing this now and allowing it to be so, we give thanks, and together we all affirm. And so it is, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you. Let's bring in the kids. High five. High five. High five. No high five. No little ones.
Good morning. We're a little bit light this morning because our teens are at camp. We heard from them last night, and they got settled in, and they were already having an amazing time. So So today, this month, our theme has been the same as yours, Born to be Free. And my group right here, we had an amazing talk, actually, about what spiritual freedom is. And they all knew, actually, what spiritual freedom is. And we talked about how to nurture that and to know that spiritual freedom really begins inside, because it's about loving ourselves and being willing to try things no matter what someone else says or the influence that outside would have, and just to have that faith and love of ourselves. And we read a really special book to help us with some of those concepts, and Eli's going to tell you about it.
So today we read a book called The Dot, and it's about this girl who was in art class, and she didn't know what to draw, so she had a blank paper. So her teacher looked at her paper, and she said, get a marker and draw a line and see where it takes you. So she took a marker and she did a huge dot, and then her teacher told her to sign it. And then the next morning, the girl saw that it was framed over her desk. So that encouraged her to do more dots, so she did dots. And then she put up dots because she had made more dots, so she put up dots at the art show, and a little boy came up to her and said, you're a really good artist. I wish I could draw like you, but I can't. So then the girl gave him the notepad, and so he took the pencil and drew a line, and he said, I can't even draw a straight line, not even with a ruler. So she looked at the line, she looked at the squiggly line, and she told him to sign it like her teacher told her to sign it. And then that encouraged the boy to draw more squiggly lines, and today for the project we drew dots.
Let's see.
Thank you, Eli. Beautiful.
Wow.
Paxton, can you show yours? It's beautiful. So all made with dots. We're going to hear from the our middle school kids real quick.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? Wonderful. Yeah, it is day, isn't it? We had Emmett and Eli today in the teen group. Oh, Easton, I'm sorry. Emmett and Easton. Gosh, I got to remember the E names. I have to remember those names. We had a great project. We talked about spiritual faith and then spiritual truth as well. And there were a few sentences that they got to finish with some of those, and Easton would like to try. Oh, okay. I can go first. One of the two will go.
Well, for my first sentence, it said, I like weekends because, so I said, we usually surf on the weekends because that's my favorite thing to do. For my last question said, a best friend should, and I wrote, be a sea pig.
Be a sea pig?
What is a sea pig?
It's pretty much a shrimp.
Oh.
It feeds at the
It's a pink shrimp.
It's a parasite. It's a pink
Okay.
shrimp.
Yay.
I want to invite everybody to stand and take a hand. And repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.